Okay, so the latest in the Deshaun Watson case is that Tony Buzbee brought forth a 23rd lawsuit just when the 22nd lawsuit that was filed, or the woman that was represented by it, dropped out for reasons of concern regarding privacy, is what it was said. Now, Erica Chapman is named as the one that is the number 23. But it's quite clear that no one actually bothered to cross-check what was placed in the lawsuit, as is habit with the so-called media today. There are more public relations people who act like they were paid by somebody to, advance a certain view. Nothing wrong with that. Just say, hey, it's a sponsored post, right? Anyway, Erica Chapman, the only Erica Chapman I could find is a makeup artist who is not in Houston. Remember, the lawsuit said that Erica Chapman was located in Houston. She's not in Houston. She's in Katy, Texas, listed on LinkedIn. And when I went to click on the LinkedIn listing, it said profile not found, or not available, profile not available, which means that two things. It means either that Erica Chapman didn't know she was being listed in a lawsuit filed by Tony Buzbee and got hounded by people and figured she should hide her profile, or Erica Chapman, for some particular reason, didn't want people to really know her true identity. The lawsuit mentions that Erica Chapman is an unlicensed massage therapist. Texas Christian University professor Vanessa Boucher, who's actually written about prostitution among massage therapists in Houston, was quite clear with me when she said that her study focused on not licensed but unlicensed massage therapists. So here's an example of someone who in a lawsuit says they are unlicensed. Doesn't say they actually are in Katy, Texas, if this is the same person, okay? And doesn't leave you or anybody else with the ability to find out who they really are. So even though many of these lawsuits now have names behind them, my assertion is that some of these lawsuits are still fake. All right? Buzbee has a history of having done this sort of thing, and it looks like he could have taken real information and made a reasonable facsimile of someone, knowing full well that the defense attorney would have a hell of a time trying to get a deposition from a composite character as opposed to a real human being. As I've said before, and I'll say again, in Gloria Allred's cases, she brings forth real people, and who they are and where they dwell is not a secret. And when you check into their backgrounds, you find that what they say matches up with what you find. In other words, they're not going to say, hey, my business was really severely hurt by someone, only to find that their business was actually thriving at the same time that they said that. Okay. So this still looks like a shakedown. And shame on the media for not doing its work. But then, of course, Zenny 62 Media is part of the media now, so we can't entirely say that. So I'll just say shame on those who just simply choose to parrot what Buzbee puts out and not actually check into it. This is part 1. Part 2 is coming. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. Oh, and here's something I want you to be aware of as we move forward, okay? And it's this: that if Watson's attorney says that they had consensual sex, and this person turns up to be a prostitute, then in point of fact they did, which leads to larger questions of extortion. Wow. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com.